and to hear the voices from the students themselves. When you hear student voices about how a particular activity or tool has enhanced their own learning, that's very compelling.
The voice that's missing is a student voice. And that, it's just quite difficult when you're in a long slog of work, like the work of this committee, to have students that have the staying power to really hang in there. And, we've done a little bit of outreach to students. I think that you and Thea went to the Student Academic Senate and talked about e-portfolios, but I think in the next phase of work, as we continue this work, bringing students in more is going to be essential to success, because I think that they can be a real force for change and for hastening the process of adoption.
Understanding, by looking at the examples, the variety of ways that students could build an e-portfolio, and understanding the opportunity that's provided for students to reflect on their work, revise it, polish it, and present it, and to have a strong feeling of accomplishment. The e-portfolio really has that capacity. It's better than a grade because it has a life well beyond the classroom. So I think it's going to motivate students differently.
Encourage students to adopt a digital identity, and to encourage them to reflect on their work in deep and meaningful ways, and to assess really the kinds of ways in which students are learning across their 4 or 5 years.
In student affairs and in student life in particular, we're liaisons to the students to try to help them negotiate this unbelievable bureaucracy in a limited period of time because they're transient. So this would be absolutely a perfect fit, and another piece to that, that helping them understand how they can integrate those co-curricular experiences into their portfolio, I think would be a real primary role, at least out of my office. And then certainly I imagine, for job search and professional preparation, I can see other colleagues in student affairs wanting to really help those students build those portfolio experiences.
Same thing with students. I think students need to be able to see how this is a very useful tool for them, not only with respect to their career here at the university, but how it might impact their success once they leave the university.
When a student comes in to meet with us as a career advisor, they're really a blank slate, and we're really just going off of what's on their resume. And frankly, most times what's on the resume doesn't have any reflection on what they've done academically in school. So I see us being able to, let's say, gosh, why don't you bring up your portfolio, and then we can help them see how they can implement the things that they've done in class into an internship application or job search, or gosh, it looked like you really excelled at this project. Maybe we can find jobs that align with those types of skills that you used.
In addition, having students start e-portfolios in the first year gives them a sense that college is different from what they've done before, that it's going to be more consequential, and that there's a purpose for their work that's going to extend all the way through their college years and into their employment years. So it provides a way of really signaling to entering students that they've entered the new phase of their life, the beginning adult phase.
Of the things that I've done, whether that's photographs or videos or other efforts that they've done individually in dyads or in groups. And so I think that those are things that potential employers are very much interested in. It gives them an idea in terms of how does this person engage with others, how do they collaborate, how do they problem solve. And I don't know that that's an interview is always the best way to gauge that. I think that an e-portfolio is a much broader look at any one individual. And I think that could be extremely beneficial for many of our students.
Once the students are really hopefully developing meaningful portfolios, then hopefully, my team and others can really just help demonstrate the importance of how that's going to be critical in their career plan and how they're looking about, assessing, gosh, this is all that I've done and how can I take this information and move it into, my career path and, how am I qualified for an XYZ job? Let me go back to my portfolio and see all that I've done, or I have an upcoming interview. I want to talk about this and this, and I can really see ways that it can be tied together.
Beginning e-portfolios in sort of their first hands-on digital classes, so media aesthetics, intro to digital audio and photography, and get them sort of starting to build that so that by the time they're a senior and they're working on that capstone presentation piece, they have everything there. Because the biggest problem our seniors have is they don't keep track of their stuff that they made. And so having an e-portfolio available to them to say, there's all my content that I created, and here are descriptions of the assignments and my learning objectives that I can really show employers is really useful.
I think a lot of educational experiences for students are punctuated experiences. They're separate classes that are associated with their major or with general education or other kinds of things. And what ePortfolio's a thoughtful, reflective, proactive approach to the use of ePortfolios can do is help students think more globally about their learning and longitudinal about their learning, about how we'll progress over time. I think of ePortfolios as sort of the potential string to a series of pearls that are otherwise collected in a box, but not connected together as a coherent whole. And so ePortfolios as a tool holds the promise, I think, of being able to help forge those connections, to make connections across the students' educational experiences in the major, general education, and over time.
So let's make sure, I don't care why people use them because the potential outcomes are so fantastic. So if we need to incentivize the use, if we make it easy to use, if we remove all possible roadblocks, then in the end we get what we want, which is this fantastic learning experience.